There are two main issues getting in the way of Drake Maye becoming a consistently impactful NFL quarterback. Let's start there. This is Locked On Patriots.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening? I am Nick Cattles, your host, born and raised in New England, covering the Patriots for the last 16 years, co-host of the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast with Nick Cattles, and a sports talk show host veteran. Coming up, a big-time investment, came up with a big-time performance in week one. Also, find out what drove me to almost moving my furniture during my rewatch of this game. But first, Drake Maye needs to be better for this team to win football games. We appreciate you joining the show, making us your first listen, and for being an everydayer of the Locked On Patriots podcast. It's a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. There is a slim margin of error for this Patriots team, and especially this Patriots offense. And Drake Maye's inconsistencies on Sunday against the Raiders resulted in way too many possessions, literally and figuratively, being punted. Now, Drake, he has high highs. I mean, if you watch, he makes some unbelievable throws, capable of making some great plays. The touchdown to Pop Douglas, throwing Kayshon Boutte open at one point. You see those plays. You see those flashes. But you also see the inconsistencies. You see those low lows. And because of those consistencies, the Patriots against the Raiders in week one gave up way too many possessions too easily for this Raiders defense. And there are two big issues I want to cover with Maye here. Let's start with number one, his pocket awareness. His pocket awareness and also his patience in the pocket. That needs to improve. Unequivocally needs to improve. We talked about this during his rookie season. At times, he would just tuck and run too quickly. He wouldn't trust his offensive line, and I get it. It's very difficult to trust that offensive line from 2024. But Drake needs better pocket awareness, pocket presence, pocket patience. He needs to be better. He needs to improve because what we saw on Sunday looked way too much like what we saw during his rookie season. And I've got examples. First drive of the game, first quarter for the Pats, 1st and 10. Drake Maye leaves the pocket in about 1.5 seconds. For no need. There was no need to tuck and start to scramble within a second and a half. It's the very first play of the game, first drive of the game for this offense. And there he is, tucking and running way too quickly. Ends up being a 1-yard scramble. You get a 3 and out. Then you had the first drive of the second half. Coming out at halftime, trying to reset some things, having a lead. The first drive of the second half. You had the 5th play of that drive. It's a 1st and 10. Great protection by the offensive line. But again, Drake Maye leaves the pocket after looking at his first progression. His first read is not there. Tucks, runs, picks up 3 yards. The very next play is the 2nd and 7 where Micah Wenu and Morgan Moses mess up a twist against Max Crosby. Drake Maye gets hit. He throws the pick. Late in the third, early fourth quarter, this was a huge drive, the 9th drive of the game, and this is a perfect example of Maye's up and down play. 1st and 15. Drake Maye leaves the pocket quickly. It was blocked up for him. Now, he finds Stephon Diggs for 10 yards, but again, he's leaving the pocket too soon. 2nd and 5, very next play. Clean pocket again for Drake Maye, but he gets happy feet. And because he gets happy feet, he starts to move up in the pocket, bad footwork. He starts to leave a little bit too early. He's off balance, and he tries to hit Ramondre Stevenson, who's running across the field wide open. And he throws it low and behind to Ramondre. Ramondre drops it because it's just a bad throw, and it's a bad throw because Drake Maye had happy feet, left the pocket early, was off balance making the throw, and that's something that should have been an easy first down pickup. Then you had a 3rd and 5. You've got a miscommunication between Will Campbell and Jared Wilson. This is the good part of Drake, where you get that miscommunication, but even though there's immediate pressure, Drake Maye is decisive, finds Stephon Diggs for a big first down. But then you jump to 2 plays later, 2nd and 8, another clean pocket. Drake Maye has all day to throw the football. He scrambles again way too early, and you end up with an incomplete pass to Gibson, which leads to a 3rd and 8, which is that play where the pass gets batted down, and Maye catches his own pass and runs for 2 yards, and the Patriots are left punting. You have to be better if you're Drake Maye. 30% of the team's drives against the Raiders were ruined because of Maye's lack of pocket awareness and patience and presence. Second issue. A lot of people have talked about the inaccuracies of Drake Maye, the layups and the easy NFL throws. That's what bugs me. When he has these spray throws to guys who are open, these plays have to be made. When you have the slim margin of error that this offense has, you have to make these plays if you're the quarterback. First drive of the game. So in the first drive of the game, first play of the game, you had Maye leave the pocket way too soon, gets a 1-yard scramble out of it. 2 plays later, third play of the game, first drive, 3rd and 8, Maye rushes himself, leads to bad footwork, and he misses Pop Douglas high on a throw, Pop's open. Now, I don't know if Pop gets the first down, but it's going to be close. Maye misses him. Third quarter, 7th drive of the game for the offense. The Patriots start on their 40-yard line. They start on the 40. Fantastic field position for them. 1st and 10. Maye has a clean pocket. Misses a wide open Hunter Henry. Ends up throwing the football high. Drive ends on a 3 and out. You make that throw, it's a first down, you move the chains, you've got some rhythm. Who knows what happens during that drive? But you miss that throw, and you end up with the 3 and out. 4th quarter, 10th drive of the game, a 2nd and 18. Maye misses Mac Hollins. Now, I don't know if Hollins slipped. He might have because of the field conditions, but he might have slipped because he had to stop short because Maye threw it a little high, a little too hard, and a little too behind his intended receiver. So he misses Hollins on a 2nd and 18. That leads to a 3rd and 18 check down to TreVeyon Henderson for 14 yards. Then you have the 4th and 5, Will Campbell, false start, punt. So you look at these 2 issues, the lack of pocket awareness and patience and the inaccurate throws on these layups to these open receivers. 2 more drives ruined because of his inaccuracy. So when you combine the 30% and you combine the 20%, half of the Patriots' drives against the Raiders were ruined because of Maye's lack of pocket awareness and inaccuracy. And you cannot literally and figuratively punt away half of your possessions because the quarterback is missing easy throws or getting a little bit too jittery in the pocket, leaving early. That'll kill any offense, especially this Patriots offense. And I wonder, is Maye overthinking? He also had a delay of game that should have never happened. In the post-game press conference, he was kind of bleh. Looked like he was feeling it a little bit mentally. And Mike Vrabel was on the Greg Hill Show, WEEI, and when he was asked about how important it is to Drake Maye to win football games, Mike Reese transcribed this answer. Vrabel said, I think that he wants to be at times perfect. You need to be precise and not perfect. And if you make a mistake, it's the reaction that you have to the mistake that everybody sees. And then they're like, oh, wow, that was a mistake. We have to clean our reactions up. I just want the better performance, more consistent, and continue to grow as a leader and make sure that there is a command to what we're doing, a command to what we're doing. That's the jittery part that Vrabel's talking about. Stephon Diggs talked about Drake Maye in the postgame. Andrew Callahan transcribed. Diggs said, quote, he's a guy that's super hard on himself. We've just got to continue that positive reinforcement, that positive encouragement. And then on Monday with the media, you had Vrabel. When asked about if there was potentially being too much put on Drake Maye's plate, Vrabel said the team has to evaluate that and see what their guys do best. So he did not shoot that idea down. Are they putting too much on Maye's plate? Is he thinking too much? He's overthinking, adding to the jittery pocket play. And yes, there has to be some jitters in the pocket because of what happened last year. And I'm sure there's jitters in the pockets of what happened to him last year at UNC. but he has to get over it, or he's not going to be consistently as good as he can be. So maybe the Patriots end up slowing things down for him because you don't need a shot. You don't need a shot at Drake Maye's psyche early in the season. And it feels like he's kind of stuck between trying to please his coaches and be a game manager to a point and being that gunslinger. And it's creating some hesitancy. We talked about it during camp, and it showed week 1 against the Raiders. He has to be better if this team wants to consistently win games. Moving away from May, the Pats got an explosive debut from one of their big-ticket free agents. We'll break it down next as we continue with today's episode of Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. The part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters, and their Trademaster perks, like priority shipping and dedicated support, make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest. Getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it's frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price that you pay. You pull up Game Time, in just a couple of taps, you see amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. And check out the zone deals, too. Pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. The biggest free agent signing in the offseason for the Patriots was, of course, Milton Williams. He was handed the bag by the front office, by Mike Vrabel. And Williams had an okay camp. I wouldn't say it was an electric camp. I wouldn't say that he just dominated camp. He had an okay camp. He had his moments. But I will tell you, rewatching this game, Milton Williams was absolutely explosive in his debut as a Patriot. Carlos Lopez posted this on Twitter/X. Williams had a team-high 7 pressures, pass rush win rate of 23.3%. He had 2 quarterback hits, 1 tackle for loss, 2 run stuffs, and 4 tackles. Milton Williams was disruptive all day long against the Las Vegas Raiders. He was a headache for the offensive line. He was causing all sorts of issues. He was taking on blockers to open up free rushes for his teammates. He was being used as almost a decoy on twists to draw double teams. He created lanes for linebackers to attack the run game of the Raiders. I thought Williams was fantastic in this game. I don't know how much more he could have done. Consistently disruptive in the pass game, good against the run. And here's the best part of Williams' debut. We were always asking throughout this camp, as soon as the Patriots signed Williams, we had the question, how much is he going to play? And I've said this ad nauseum, Williams played less than 50% of the snaps for the Eagles. And some would say he played less than 50% of the snaps because Philly did not trust him completely, especially against the run. Now, there's another argument. There's a counter argument to that, which is Well, he didn't play more than 50% of the snaps because the Eagles' defensive line was loaded, especially on the interior. So how much would Williams play for the Pats? And could he remain effective playing more snaps? Week 1, the answer is yes. It's clearly yes. I just gave you the impact stats for Williams. Let me give you another stat. 49. That's how many snaps Williams played on Sunday. That is 78% of the defensive snaps. I don't know if he's going to continue to play 78% of the snaps, but on Sunday, he played almost 80% of the snaps and was consistently disruptive for the Raiders offense. He wasn't the only one on the interior. Mike Giardi posted earlier today that Christian Barmore was hard to move in the run game. Few really disruptive snaps from Barmore. And we wondered, another question, how much would Barmore play? He was heavily managed throughout camp. Workload management a la the NBA. How much would Barmore play week 1? 47 snaps for Barmore. That is 75% of the defensive snaps. Williams played 78% of the time. Barmore played 75% of the time. And Barmore got through it, as far as we know, perfectly fine. It was a very promising start for the interior of this defensive line. Tonga also made a couple plays. But, I mean, when you look at it, Kyrie's Tonga, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, that rotation, sprinkling a little Joshua Farmer, but it was a really good start for your top two guys, Barmore and Williams. Here's something else that was good, the pass rush. Now, leading into the game, I had hope that the pass rush would be good, and that's precisely what happened. I'm going to give you some next-gen stats. The Patriots were 5th in the NFL heading into Monday night. They were 5th in the NFL in sack rate. Can you imagine that? One of the worst pass rush teams in the league last year. You could argue the worst pass rush team in the league. 5th in sack rate. Heading into Monday night, the Patriots were also 10th in pressure rate, getting a ton of pressure. And Harold Landry, another free agent that was given a pretty good amount of money, he was in beast mode against the Raiders. Joseph Pasteris posted from Next Gen Stats, Landry generated 7 pressures. He had 2.5 sacks. Some say he had 3 on 28 pass rushes. That means that Harold Landry's pressure rate was 25%, which is kind of bananas. He also had 5 pressures. So out of the 7 pressures he had in total, 5 of those pressures were quick pressures, which is when you get a pressure on the quarterback under 2.5 seconds. We talk about Harold Landry's first step looking as quick as it did in his older Tennessee days. You saw it on Sunday, that quick first step. He was not only pressuring Geno Smith, he was pressuring Geno Smith quickly. And by the way, the Patriots last year only had one player do that one time all year long with the 5 pressures coming under 2.5 seconds. So that's a different type of pressure. Phil Perry also told us that the Patriots, he posted 3rd highest blitz rate in week 1. Patriots blitzed 43.6% of the time. And, you know, if you put these pieces together, Christian Gonzalez, he returns. You've got the bones to a defense. You've got the pieces. Good rush with some difficult blitz looks, suffocating press man with Gonzo Davis, Carlton Davis, and Alex Austin. And that defense could end up being a nightmare for a lot of offenses. I don't want to stop here, though. I want to continue with one more good thing. Will Campbell was good. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. Will Campbell was good. I know that I'm sure there's a contingent of people who can't wait to tell you that Campbell wasn't good. Oh, he gave up a strip sack. Oh, he had the false starts. The length. Campbell was good. Now, the false starts, he has to clean up. But his pass pro was good. Carlos Lopez transcribed Pro Football Focus on Campbell. Campbell gave up 1 sack, 2 pressures, 2 hurries, 2 penalties. He had a PFF grade of 71.6, which is not too shabby for a first NFL start. And if you don't love PFF numbers, Next Gen Stats said that Campbell gave up 2 pressures and 1 sack. And let's not forget the context. The Patriots dropped back 53 times in this game. To ask a rookie left tackle to hold up during 53 dropbacks in his first ever NFL game, in the way that he played, I thought he played well. Again, you got to clean up the false starts. I thought that the strip sack, some of that was on Ramondre Stevenson. We'll get to that a little bit later. But as Evan Lazar wrote about the O-line, if we told you that the O-line would only surrender a 28.3 pressure rate in week 1, we'd all be ecstatic. And he's right. If you get under 30% pressure rate from an offensive line in 2025, that means your O-line played well in pass protection. The O-line held up. Had some issues with communication, had some issues with some blitzing, but overall, I would take what we got on Sunday every day of the week. And shout out to Garrett Bradbury, who analytically had a clean sheet. He was really good in pass protection. I did not expect that. And of course, the other part of it, you got to run the ball better. So the O-line hopefully gets back to the lab and figures that out. But if we talk about pass protection, we talk about Will Campbell, Patriots were good against the Raiders. So beware of those agendas. After watching the game over, there are 3 things. I just told you 3 things that were good. There were 3 things that bothered me. One specifically infuriated me. Find out what next. We continue with today's episode of Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. There's nothing better than sitting there on a Sunday with your buddies and keeping up on all the latest with FanDuel. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. Again, $5. New customers bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We all understand that with week 1 in the NFL, a lot will change. From what we saw from week 1 to week 2, there might even be dramatic changes. But I want you to think back for a second. Think back to 2024, week 1 against Cincinnati. What was being said? How did everybody feel? And how did the season end? A lot of things can change. There's a lot to fix for this Patriots team. But if you're burning down the season after 1 week, that's just silly, in my opinion. But there is one specific thing. There were 3 things that I want to talk about and dive a little bit deeper into that I did not dive in as much in the post game. There are 3 things that bothered me, but one specific thing infuriated me, and that was the usage of TreVeyon Henderson. I don't understand why he only played, 8 or 9 snaps in the second half. I do not understand that. I do not understand after he showed a little bit of juice running the football in the first half, given the circumstances. I don't understand why he had 0 traditional carries in the second half. And I don't understand the pass game and how he was utilized. I get it that TreVeyon Henderson is not going to play, or touch the football 25 times a week. We have talked about that. I have nailed it down that Henderson will get 10 to 15 touches weekly. He had 11 touches against the Raiders. But it wasn't the amount of touches. It was more the way that he was used or not used. Henderson, put it simply, against the Raiders was the king of the check down. He was the king of the check down. He was king of the swing pass. And he was king of the predictable screens. That's what his role was in the passing game. And I didn't think it was nearly good enough. I'll give you some examples. Second quarter, 3rd drive for the offense. You get the bad delay of game on Drake Maye that we brought up earlier. It's 3rd and 17. You're near the red zone. And predictably, you throw a screen pass to Henderson for nothing. It's predictable. You just had a delay of game. The defense knows you're going to try to call something simple. Henderson's in the game, so they're keyed on him. He gets nothing out of it. Second quarter, fourth drive, the very next drive, you have a hold called on Austin Hooper. 1st and 20 after the holding call. Another situation where you could just feel a screen pass coming. 1st and 20, let's just get some yards. Play action screen to Henderson. He gets 4 yards out of it. Just not enough. Third quarter, 7th drive. The Patriots start on their own 40-yard line. Talked about this a little bit earlier with Maye having the clean pocket. Misses Hunter Henry high, who's wide open. The second play of that drive, right after Maye missed Henry, was a 2nd and 10 swing pass to Henderson. Now, Josh McDaniels did have Henderson in motion, which was at least a little bit of a tweak, but this was read perfectly by the Raiders. 1-yard loss. Third quarter, 8th drive of the game. You start 1st and 10. Pop Douglas, jet sweep for 3 yards. 2nd and 7. Pony formation, shotgun, ends up being a check down to Henderson for 3 yards. The Pats failed to get creative versus zone defense. That they couldn't find mismatches for Henderson. Evan Lazar posted that the Raiders only played one-man coverage rep on 53 dropbacks. It was mostly all cover 3 and cover 2 zones. And that way, Henderson, you couldn't get him matched up with a linebacker. You couldn't easily get him matched up with a safety that you might want to match him up against. And I thought Josh McDaniels struggled to get TreVeyon Henderson the football in space. You've got to find ways to get him the ball in space. And the screen passes were way too predictable. The checkdowns are checkdowns. I did not like what I saw on Sunday, the way that Henderson was used. And maybe it's just too early for more creativity. Maybe we go back to the Drake Maye stuff and overthinking and too much on his plate. So maybe that's what McDaniels would tell us. But you've got to find a way to get Henderson going. And when he's your best running back in the first half running the football, to not give him a single traditional carry in the second half, I think is outrageous. But let's not stop there with the running backs. Let's go to Ramondre Stevenson, because another issue was Ramondre just wasn't very good. 7 carries, 15 yards. Decent amount of that on the offensive line. But meanwhile, Stevenson's got 7 carries for 15 yards. Henderson in the first half had 5 carries for 27 yards. More than 5 yards a carry. I thought Stevenson, the red zone run, about the 5-yard line, if not inside the 5, I thought he had more space to work with and got a 1-yard gain out of it. Not the best run. And he really just didn't add anything extra, like yards after contact. You just did not see that. But the worst of Ramondre Stevenson on Sunday was his pass protection. Second quarter, 3rd drive of the game. The Patriots are putting together a nice drive after the first touchdown to Pop Douglas. And what do you get? A 1st and 10 run. Garrett Bradbury falls over. I don't know what happened. He blows the block. Entire line crumbles. And then, the next play, you've got a blitz that's not picked up by Stevenson. A pressure on Drake Maye, batted down at the line of scrimmage. Fourth quarter, 1st and 10. Ramondre Stevenson, late to a blitz, results in an incomplete pass to Henry on a pressure. It's not good enough. 1st and 10 later on that same drive. The strip sack that we talk about. Ramondre just does not do a good enough job chipping the pass rusher. He's supposed to help Will Campbell in that situation, and he barely grazed the guy. And I think that hurt Campbell's opportunity there to maybe block it and make sure that there's not a pressure, that there's not craziness happening. But Ramondre does not help Campbell as much as he should have. The chip was awful, and you get the strip sack. And if this continues, it's time to get Antonio Gibson more involved. Just not good enough from Stevenson on Sunday. Not good enough running the football and not good enough in pass protection. One more thing I want to get to. We discussed the big plays given up by the defense in the postgame, but I want to look at a couple of opportunities that the linebackers missed out on that could have changed this game. Third quarter, 7th defensive possession here. 7th defensive, stand, so to speak. Not so much a stand. 1st and goal, the Ashton Genty touchdown. Tough run by Genty. But I thought Robert Spillane had a chance to make a play in the backfield, and he just ran right by him. In the fourth quarter, the Raiders have the football from their own 11-yard line. They end up getting a field goal out of this possession. Couple of errors by your linebackers. A 3rd and 1, Robert Spillane, instead of running into a gaping hole that was created by defensive line, there's a huge hole that Spillane has to fill. He runs into the defensive pack. Instead of filling that hole, Genty gets a first down on that 3rd and 1. The very next play, the Patriots give up 26 yards. And then on the 4th and 1, that really was the nail in the coffin. 4th and 1, Raiders go for it. It's a play-action bootleg to the left. Geno Smith throws across his body to Michael Mayer for the first down, but there's no reason that should have happened. Christian Ellis is for some reason over-pursuing Geno Smith, and if you look at it from behind Smith, there are 2 or 3 Patriots defenders right in front of Geno Smith. He's going nowhere, but for some reason, Ellis kind of leaks too far over pursues on the second level behind those other defenders, over pursues Geno Smith, and doesn't take responsibility for his guy, which is Mayer. And what do you know? First down, game pretty much over. So you need better plays by your linebackers in those key situations, and it will be fascinating to see the corrections for Miami in week 2. That wraps up this edition of Locked On Patriots. Thank you for making us your first listen and for being an everydayer. Reach out to me on Twitter, Nick C Radio. Don't forget to throw a comment in on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for making Locked On Patriots your first listen of the day. The NFL season, it's here. For your second listen, get a double dose of the Locked On NFL podcast. Tyler the Madman Rowland gives you a shot of espresso to start your football day, while Tony Wiggins takes you into the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end the day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.